Your eyes are not viewers. People say, eyes, I see things. Eyes are my viewers. Your eyes, we know this in psychology and neuroscience. Your eyes are not viewers. They are also projectors. They are projectors running a second story over the image that you see right in front of you. Isn't that interesting? Your eyes are projecting a second story over the reality that you're watching. Here's a few stories to support this truth. My mom and I are driving in my car one day, and we come upon a four-way stop. And as I stop at this four-way stop, I see to my right, this teenage guy is coming up in his car. I barely put on the brake, but I stop and then I accelerate and keep going. And I'm thinking, he's yelling at me. I can tell in my peripheral vision, like he's cursing at me and like he's mad because I cut him off. And then my mom says, "Oh, Lisa, isn't youth wonderful? Did you see that young teenager singing his songs at the top of his lungs?" One event, two different perceptions of the same event. What causes that projection? I projected that event. That guy was yelling at me. He was cursing at me. My mom perceived that event. Her projection was, isn't youth grand? Young people just singing at the top of their lungs. So which one is right? Was the guy yelling at me, cursing at me for cutting him off? Or was the guy just singing to the radio at the top of his lungs? What do you think? Which one? To this day, I don't know. And I literally share that story so often, scratching my head like, was that guy yelling at me or was my mom right? But remember, at that time, I was feeling guilty for going through and cutting him off. So my mindset was in the space of guilt. My mom was just joyful and joyous that I was taking her shopping. She didn't have to drive. She's in the passenger seat, and my mom is very joy-filled. And so she saw the guy, the young kid, singing at the top of his lungs. The answer is we don't know, and we don't have to know, because that's the wrong question to ask. The right question to ask is, what causes projection? And an even better, higher level question to ask is, wow, are we all creating our own reality? Are we all creating our own reality? I've heard a neuroscientist say, if there's 8 billion people on the planet, there are 8 billion realities. That's how much mindset plays a part in your life and what you're creating for your reality. It's your perception of what you see. It's the perception of your own self-view that shows how you show up. It's the perception and your own mindset that creates that projection. Your mindset is projecting a second story over the images that you see right in front of you. Wow, your mindset is creating a second story over the image of the reality of your life. And some of you know exactly what that means. Some of you have been diagnosed and clear of cancer. And that journey of cancer-free, you have never been more faith-filled. You have never been more intentionally joy-filled. You have never been more intentionally and consciously trust-filled. Or some people, they may get bad news or a diagnosis or abandonment, and they fall apart. Why me? Why did he leave me? No one will ever love me again. I'll never make it through this diagnosis. The power of a mindset to actually project reality in your world and my world. So your mindset is projecting a second story over the images that you see right in front of you. That's the reality in psychology and in neuroscience. And isn't that good news? If we know that to be true, then we can start working on our mindset. We can start consciously reprogramming our subconscious mind. We can consciously and intentionally choose how we want to perceive a specific situation. Here's another example of this story. Researchers, have you ever heard of the wallet drop survey, the wallet drop story? This is amazing. Researchers took 2 years to drop 17,000 wallets all over the world. 17,000 wallets were dropped in 40 different countries. And they wanted to see how many of those wallets were retrieved or returned. And how they did that is they dropped it in hotels so that whoever was the manager of the hotel was in on it and could actually say, yes, the wallet was returned to our front desk, or no, we have no idea, the wallet was never returned. It took 2 years to conduct this study. And guess what they found out? Now just think right now in your mindset about humans, about human behavior, about honesty on this planet, about the human condition around honesty. And what do you think the percentage of wallets? What was the percentage of wallets that were returned? Out of 17,000 wallets across 40 countries, what was the percentage of wallets returned to? They never were returned. People took the wallet, took the money. 90% of the wallets were returned if they had a $100 bill in them. If they had less money in them, like around $13 to $15 or the equivalent in that country's currency, 75% were returned. Now think like a behavioral psychologist. Wow. One, there's a lot of honesty on this planet. Number two, there's a lot of altruism on this planet, meaning if someone finds a wallet and there's $100, oh my gosh, that's going to upset someone so much because $100 is a lot of money. I got to find the owner. There's a lot of compassion and altruism because of $100. And then, of course, $13, $15 or the equivalent. They're like, I feel bad that this person lost it, but it's only $13, $15. So they didn't return it as much. But let that really sink in to what your core beliefs are, your mindset about the human condition. A lot of people say this world is getting worse and worse and worse. A lot of people say you can't find an honest person. A lot of people say, where's the altruism? Well, this study shows it's still alive. It's still well. It's alive and well. Out of 17,000 wallets, over 40 countries, 90% of the wallets were returned. Now, last one, what is your beliefs about money? Researchers did a phenomenal experience where they took 1,000 attendees to this convention, and they put $100 bills just dropped along the path between the convention to where lunch was being served. And they noticed that when the conversation from the speakers in the convention was about, it's okay to be blessed, it's not a sin to be wealthy, God can use you in your wealth to be a greater impact and to be the philanthropist you always wanted to be. In other words, when the speakers were retraining the brains of those participants so that they didn't see money as evil, but they saw money as a choice to be more of who they are, a choice to grow themselves, a choice to be philanthropic and help others, that they actually started to see the money on the ground. They were present to the money. They were aware in their conscious and subconscious minds of where this money was. Are you ready for this? 78% of the time, almost 80%. That's huge. So again, what's your mindset around your perception of other people? What's your mindset around money and success? Asking you to be aware of your thoughts, to be aware of how do you think? What are your reactions to certain situations and circumstances of your life? Because I'll end with this one last quote. We know too in psychology and neuroscience that 95% of our thoughts are unconscious. Unconscious thoughts, unconscious triggers. We don't even know why we don't even realize we're thinking negatively. We don't even realize we're thinking in a judgmental way. We don't even realize that we're walking the planet lacking faith or lacking boldness or having worthiness issues or riddled with self-doubt. We don't even realize our mindset is limiting or we're programmed in a limiting fashion because 95% of our thoughts are from this subconscious mind. I think that's great news that we've got to bring our thought life into our conscious awareness. If 95% of our thought life is unconscious and you have 60,000 thoughts a day, the average human being has 60,000 thoughts a day. 70% of them are negative. But 95% of the time, you don't realize it's negative. Oh, I'm late again. Oh my God, I lost my keys. I always lose my keys. Oh my gosh, my boss is such a jerk. Oh, my husband did ABC. Oh, whatever. These subconscious mind chatter that comes from a mindset that's based in scarcity, not enough, inadequacy. But what would your life look like? What would your life look like if you applied the Mindset Reset formula to your thought life and started resetting and creating your mind shifts so that you could reprogram your subconscious mind? That your subconscious mind would be programmed at, I'm always taken care of. I'm divinely guided. I've got royal blood flowing through my veins. I always know the answer. Maybe not right away, but in time, I always know what to do. I am so abundant. I'm so abundantly blessed. Prosperity is my middle name. And I'm not even afraid of greed. I'm not, because I serve a God who's going to take care of me if I start getting too greedy. That's how big my God is. So I'm even unafraid of success. I'm unafraid of wealth. I say, bring it on, because it will just make me more of who I already am. And express myself to be a greater philanthropist, more expansive in my intellect, more generous in my gift giving. So today's conversation sounds like it's pretty broad, but the main point is the power of your thought life. And that's called your mindset. Are you ready to learn a formula to help you stop being stuck in fear and level up your productivity? To go from being overwhelmed to a high performer? To turn your scarcity mindset into an abundance magnet? Then you want to come to the Mastermind Retreat in Tuscany, Italy. You'll enjoy 6 magical days immersed in the beauty, the culture, the richness of the Tuscan countryside, Florence and Siena and San Gimignano. You'll mastermind with other like-minded people in a 13th century castle as you apply my Mindset Reset formula to recreate yourself, your business, and your life. There's only 2 spots left. Get registered today at lisajcoaching.com/retreats. And I'll see you in Tuscany.